Hi guys, welcome back to another podcast. This
Hello.
is my awesome mom, Kayli.
Oh, thank you. Hi. And this is my beautiful, amazing, and talented daughter, Brai. We're so excited to be back for podcast number 2.
Oh yeah.
Number 2.
1 week later.
Also, we didn't say if we had a name to our podcast.
That's because we don't.
We haven't decided on one. We had one that we decided on 5 years ago.
Yeah.
And now we're kind of feeling like,
We're like, darling, but let's get real. Is that a good name?
yeah, that was the name that we were going to go with, is Darling, Let's Get Real. Because I'm sure everyone has heard a quote?
But darling, yeah, quote. But darling, what if you fly?
And when I heard that for the first time, Braylee was really little, and I was just like, that is perfect for Braylee. I love it. It just made me think of her, and I was just like, yes. And and so when we first started talking about doing something together, a blog or a podcast, I was like, let's do that. And then after we filmed the first episode, or I just think as you got older, I got more real with myself and how hard parenting is and how I don't know what's going on. I was like, what if we did Darling, Let's Get Real? Because yes, darling, I hope you fly, but like, let's get real.
That's not how life is.
That's beautiful, but like, and
It is still a cute quote though. It's one of my faves.
I love that quote.
Yeah.
Yes, I love it. I think that it is really special, and I think that it's great, but my perspective of just life in general changed a little.
I ruined her.
Absolutely not. I think it was just, I never want things to seem like perfect or like I'm just always like, go Bray. I mean, I'm your biggest cheerleader, but
But we don't think everything's perfect. We don't sugarcoat things. That's a good way to put it.
yeah. I'm out of breath, guys, because I just walked up the stairs and I still haven't got my
Our
breath.
stairs are so steep. Like, everyone that walks up them is out of breath.
Really?
Yeah.
Well, that makes me feel better because I feel really bad about myself every single time.
Yeah, they're a little
Anyway,
steep.
sorry. I'm really like zip, zap, zip, zop,
Yeah.
zoop, zop today. My brain is going a million miles an hour. I cannot stay focused.
Why?
So I'm going to need your help today.
My mom just took a quick trip to California yesterday.
Oh my
so
gosh.
She's a little bit tired today.
Oh my gosh. I messed up so big time. When I had my first 2 kids, we filled out papers at the hospital. They sent their birth certificates. Amazing, done and done. When I had Winston, I was like, why isn't his birth certificate here? And I went through papers from the hospital, and you're supposed to like fill them out and send them in and pay to have it shipped. I didn't ever get Winston's birth certificate. I know that is very irresponsible. I did try a couple of times and failed. It's a long story. But when I realized that I failed the last time, it was crunch time to our cruise, which we're leaving to on Friday. And so I got online and I found a company that could expedite it. They said it would be here in 2 to 9 days. Do you think that happened? Absolutely not. They said it was going to be here in like 4 to 6 weeks. My only option was to fly to California. Well, we don't have a lot of time. So yesterday I flew to California at 7 in the morning and I flew home at 7 at night. It all went well, but it was the longest day because I had to leave my house at 3 in the morning. I got home at 2 in the morning.
Yeah, it was a little rough.
It was
a 24-hour trip.
It was not fun. And I should have planned it better and like had something to do, or I don't know how I could have planned it any different because it was so quick. And I have a few friends that still live out there, but it was a Monday. So, and I didn't have a car. So I just got everything done. I thought it was going to take way longer. It didn't. So I was at LAX, the airport, for 9 hours. I can't even tell you how torturous it was. I did get a video edited and uploaded. I did get some like different things done that I've been needing to do, so it was fine. But I about lost my mind.
And they had no awesome stores?
Not in the terminal that I was in, because that's what I was thinking. Well, I'll just do like a little shopping, or like hopefully there's a makeup store. But the terminal I was in did not have
Why didn't you
much.
go to a different terminal if you were there for 9 hours?
I don't know. I didn't want to get lost. I don't know.
You don't want to get kidnapped?
I didn't want to. I listened to way too much true crime. I didn't want someone to
blame you.
sneak me onto a plane and murder me. I'm just kidding.
So welcome back to our true crime podcast.
I wish. Those are like the podcasts I listen to.
Yeah.
But I've been wanting something more like this. Just like uplifting and fun and just,
Yeah.
hanging out. Someone in the comments said that they were going to be commuting for their job and that they were going to listen to our podcast. And that just made me so happy.
Yeah.
Because I love that,
That's so
that we'll just
sweet.
like be hanging out with you guys while you're traveling or driving or doing your makeup.
Anything.
So
Podcasts are so easy to listen to. I love them.
I really do love podcasts also.
I did see a comment asking if we were like posting it other places like on podcasts and
Right.
Apple Podcasts. Is that a thing? Like Apple
Yeah.
Music Podcasts? Someone asked that. And it's in the works. We're still trying to figure it out. So YouTube for now.
Yeah. Well, I think we decided on a name, right? Did you like that name that
Yeah.
I sent? I sent Braylee a list. I was like, you send me a list too. She didn't. It's okay. And we liked Hey Kay, Hey Bray, a mother-daughter podcast. Let's say it like this. So you say Hey Kay, and I'll say Hey Bray. Okay. Okay, go.
You're first.
My name's Kay. Why would I say my own name? You would say
Oh, okay. Hey, Kay.
Hey Bray, a mother-daughter podcast. Is that fine? I don't know. Let us know. We haven't officially set up a podcast channel. We're going to be doing that. I did want 3 episodes so that we could upload all 3 episodes. Hopefully, if someone new finds us along the way, then they'll have kind of, a stockpile of
We have to have a
podcasts
portfolio.
listen to. I just love that. Like I love finding podcasts that have a bunch that I can listen to.
It sucks waiting for things. So
Yeah.
it's nice if there's some already there.
And then I feel like you're ready to wait another week.
I agree.
And hopefully we'll do more. After our first podcast, I was so excited to do more.
It's
Life
like,
got a little crazy. But
yeah. It's like hard, I feel like, for the past 5 years to like commit to sitting down and filming for some reason. We're so used to YouTube. It's a lot harder than it seems watching the video. Like it's a big commitment, but talking on a podcast is so easy.
it's so fun. Like I enjoyed it so much.
Yeah.
And we have these conversations all the time anyway. Going back to that, when I first started on YouTube, we did crafts. We did tutorials and
Forgot
I did
about
them
that.
with the kids and they were a lot of work.
Oh, it was
It's
a mess sometimes.
of work. It's really fun.
Yeah.
And I'm glad that we did those videos. And I think my kids had a lot of great experiences. And we made a lot of things that we wouldn't have made.
And it's like so fun going back and like watching us grow up kind of because we were so silly like making the crafts.
Yeah. Yeah, I love that. But it took a lot.
Yeah.
Especially when things got turned over to me by myself. It was a little chaotic. So that's probably why. Because
Yeah.
it just seems like, oh, we have to prepare so much. When really, we just get to have a conversation. Pretty great.
I don't even get ready. If you couldn't tell.
Well, my hair is from, I don't know how long ago. This is my airport hair. From
But
all
you have
day.
like pretty naturally like wavy hair. Mine's just like greasy. I have the greasiest hair if you know me, so
You do not.
it's a problem I have. I have a sweaty head. It's because my room is so hot at night, I think. I sleep with
I'm
like
sure.
a mini heater like blowing on my face. I'm like, why is my skin so dry and my head is so sweaty?
It's so weird too. I'm the opposite. I have to be cold when I'm sleeping. Like I can't have my feet covered.
That's so weird.
It's
I'm
just
actually like that too. I don't like my feet hot, so I like stick them out under my bed.
in the hot room.
It's cold under my bed.
Okay. Going back to the comments, we were so grateful to read all of your comments and just see that you were doing exactly what we were hoping you guys would do, and that is continuing the conversation down in the comments. I can't even tell you how much it meant to me to read all of them.
And I'm so thankful for like the criticism that you guys gave us. Like it wasn't rude, so please don't leave rude criticism. But I like to hear that I shouldn't say yeah all the time, which helped me a lot. If you could tell, I haven't been saying it as much. But you guys were really kind, and we appreciate it.
You say yeah because you're engaging in the conversation, and it feels natural to do that because when you're having a conversation with someone and they're telling you something, then you're going to be like, oh yeah.
It just feels awkward, like nodding your head, like it's like on my tongue, like I'm ready to say it, but I'm like biting it.
Yeah. Yeah. The word like is
Yeah.
really hard. I feel like we've been doing a pretty good job with
Yeah, I don't think maybe I've said it a couple times, but we've been good. We're watching.
Yeah. Little things that we'll work on. The podcasts will get better, I hope.
Someone said that we have good voices for podcasts, and I thought it was nice.
That is really
I never
nice.
thought about that. We can read. Remember when someone said that they wanted you to read bedtime stories?
Yes, and I was like, that sounds like the greatest thing ever. I would love to do that. I actually love at nighttime reading with the kids, or mostly with Layla now because Winston can read on his own. But I just love like really getting into it and pretending like I'm a librarian. Do you remember Library? I loved Library and
That's
listening to the
so
librarian.
funny.
It was just the greatest thing ever. I would love to do
It
that.
makes you feel like a little kid again. Our topic today was inspired by your guys' comments on the last podcast. So today we're talking about if my mom encourages me to follow the path of my peers or if she encourages me to travel and do other things.
Yes.
Besides get married when I graduate.
Yeah, I think that they were referring to, you know, kind of the path I went down. I got married very young and I didn't travel. I moved after I graduated about like 25 minutes away from home, which I mean was great. But after that, then I got married.
Yeah, I'm living here for a few years, so.
I would love for you to stay here. I think that that's a great decision. But I think because of the last podcast, I'm really excited that you're stepping outside of your comfort zone, going to be traveling, living somewhere else, a different country.
Yeah, it's a little weird.
It's so amazing. And I absolutely have always encouraged Braylee to do something different. And I think it is because of my experience, which is hard to say because obviously I wouldn't change anything. Obviously, I'm glad that I had Braylee when I was 20. And I wouldn't change anything about that. Yesterday when I was stuck at the airport all day long, but finally feeling relieved, like I could wrap my head around a topic, I had time to think about what I really wanted to say or how I really felt about it, because it is so hard to say, I want Braylee to do something different, because at the time I was so ready to get married. When I got engaged at 18, I was Braylee's age, I felt really ready. Casey and I had been dating for almost 3 years at that point, and I don't know, it just kind of felt like that's what you do next in life, and it was very common. I had a lot of friends get married at 18, 19, in their early 20s. I would say most of my friends did. And I think that there are a lot of different reasons that we all got married. We didn't think that it was right to live with our partner before we got married. I think that is a big thing. Purity culture. And I think that those two things really played a big role in the reason that we all got married so young. And I don't want Braylee to feel like she needs to jump into a marriage because of those things. I don't think that she needs to feel bad if she feels that it's right for her to live with her partner before she gets married, or, whatever she decides. And since Braylee's been old enough to have these conversations, I hope that I've made you feel like you feel comfortable doing whatever you decide feels right for you.
Yeah, I feel like I've grown up my whole life not really having expectations of either I need to get married right out of high school or I need to wait a few years. I mean, you definitely encouraged me to wait a few years, which I think is a good thing. But I don't feel like any pressures or like I'm held to like a standard that I have to live a certain way. I feel like also the path that you went down isn't as common anymore for some reason. Like my class, most people I know that have graduated a few years older than me aren't even married yet. There are a couple, but not really. Yeah. So I feel like it's a little different now.
I do agree with that. I think that it's changing. I guess I do really encourage my kids to wait. I feel like I more encourage my kids to wait until they're at least 25 because of my experience. I don't feel like I had any idea who I was until I was 25. I feel like I was a kid until I was 25. And you don't realize that until you get to that age and older. And then you're like, holy cow.
I realized that because my whole life I've been like, I can't wait to be 18. I can do whatever I want. I can do all these awesome stuff. Now that I'm 18, I'm like, oh, and I'm still 12. Like, I still feel as old as I did when I was 10 years old.
Right.
So I feel the same. Like, my whole life I've wanted to get married when I'm 22 and have kids when I'm 24 because Taylor Swift, 22, and my lucky number is 24. But now that I'm, like, to the age where that's possible, I don't see that happening.
Yeah.
But maybe get married when I'm 22 because I am in love.
I think that is a tricky thing, too. I would like for my kids to be older. But also, if they feel like it's right to get married at a certain age, I want to honor that as long as I feel like they're in a good relationship. I will always be cheering my kids on. And I think that you can have a lot of fun being married young. and travel and do a lot of things. The thing that I really hope that my kids will wait to do is have kids. As much as I would love to have grandkids, and I dream of the day that I have a bunch of little grandkids and I get to have sleepovers and play dates and do all of these different things with them, I just would really love for you guys to not have that responsibility. Because when I was thinking about what to talk about, I was thinking about when I had you. It was the best thing that could have ever happened to me. It was the greatest thing in my life. I physically felt my heart fill. I feel like I had this like missing part of me. And when I had Braylee, I physically felt that missing piece fill right up. And I'm so grateful for that. But I don't think that I was the best I could have been for you at that age. I tried
I think
really
you raised
hard.
a pretty good kid.
I think that I raised an amazing kid, but I had no part in that. You're just amazing. And I think that I loved you so much. But I see how with age and maturity, I have so much more patience. I have so much more understanding. I just have so much more experience with life that I let the little things go. And at the age of 20, you know, my early 20s, I just didn't know how to do life on my own as it was. So I was way more stressed. I didn't have the patience that I wish I would have had. I felt like I needed to live the way I should. I'm doing quote unquote should. How I should be raising my kids, how I should be living life. And it wasn't exactly how I felt lined up with me, but I was trying to live by these shoulds. And I think it was really damaging. And I hope that makes sense, that you were the greatest thing that ever could have happened to me. I just wish that I could have been better for you.
I think it makes sense to me because I think that like getting pressured into growing up faster than like you're supposed to is damaging. I mean, I obviously didn't have a kid, but a couple years ago I was hanging out with like the older crowd, and I was like, you remember, really like forcing myself to be like this older, more mature person. I didn't allow myself to have fun. I like stuck to things that older kids like acted, like the maturity. And I feel like that was also like hard. So I understand where you're coming from. Like feeling forced to be older is hard.
I just really feel like I was so immature that I didn't know what I was I didn't know what I was doing. When you get to the age of 20, you're going to be like, oh yeah, I'm a kid. I remember I was pregnant with you. I was like 5 months pregnant with you when I turned 20, and I was so sad that I was turning 20 because I didn't want to be that old. As I'm just sitting there pregnant, like,
Yeah,
I don't know.
so
I think
weird.
back to that and I'm like, oh my gosh. But I wouldn't change anything. And I think that my life was better because I became a mom at a young age. But I just don't want my kids to have that responsibility at such a young age.
That makes sense.
And I just feel like I've been a better mom since I've gotten older.
Something that has really stuck out to me about this topic is a couple years ago, I don't even know what we were talking about, but we were having a conversation kind of just about future. And my mom said enjoy every basically moment in your relationship. Because in high school, like kids always, it is kind of a little cringy, but they always talk about, I can't wait to get married and I can't wait to have a future with you. But ever since she said that, like I've really just enjoyed the now in every relationship. Like I'm in such a good relationship right now, but I love being in high school with the boy I'm with. But when I graduate, I don't want to, skip like being married outside of high school. Does that make sense? I mean, I don't want to skip dating outside of high school. Like, yes. I want to enjoy that stage outside of high school and like growing together, but also growing on our own. I feel like when you're married, you kind of have to grow into one, and you don't really know yourself. And I think that's such a big part of graduating high school, is you really get to find out who you are on your own. Even if you're living at your house, like you're still pretty much on your own. And I think that's so important. So getting married outside of high school kind of scares me because you don't get to experience that relationship with somebody, and you don't get to really find who you really are. And maybe that's something I just personally feel like. Obviously, everyone else has opinions, but that's how I feel. And then eventually you are going to build that relationship of being engaged and then the relationship of being married. But I want to live all those relationships.
Yeah, all those different times in a relationship. I also think that when I was growing up, when I liked a boy or dated someone, it was almost like I was thinking, could I marry this person?
Yeah.
It wasn't just dating to date and have fun and kind of see where it goes, or just like enjoying dating. I always had marriage in my mind. And I remember when we moved to California, someone was dating someone and they were talking about it. And I was like, do you think you're going to marry them? And they looked at me with a weird look on their face and said, I don't know. And I realized in that moment, oh, not everyone dates and thinks that way, because it's okay to date someone and just have fun.
And enjoy the now.
Yeah, because there will be a lot of people that you just date. And I also think that is so important, because every person that you date and those experiences you take with you, and then you find the partner that is right for you. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And again, I wouldn't change a thing. And I know a lot of people who have gotten married young and they wouldn't change a thing. This is like no judgment or anything like that. But as a mom and seeing my daughter now at 18, I realize how young I truly was. And it is so weird, because I just can't imagine you getting ready to move on to that phase of life. When I was your age and engaged, I didn't think that I was that young, because my parents were so much younger than I was when they got married and started their family. And so I think that as you've gotten older, it's just been really eye-opening. And so we've had a lot of these conversations, and I do encourage my kids to just live a full life, because I just really, really want that for them. I want you to have a lot of experiences. I'm so grateful that we were able to move to California and have experiences, both Dad and I. And I want you to just take in different cultures and different experiences and different opinions, and learn to love so many different people.
Yeah. The way I look at it is, well, I don't know what that word was. The way I look at it is, if you're supposed to be with this person, then you're going to be with them. Like, even if you guys break up because you guys are going separate ways, but you find each other again. Like, I think that's how it's supposed to be. Someone asked in the comments if Maddox was coming with me to the country I'm going to next year. And he's not, and we're doing long distance, and who knows what's going to happen. Like, I obviously hope that we're still going to be together and we're going to make it work. But that's also so far away. And I'm not worried about that at all. And I know when he's also a grade younger than me, so he's still in high school. But I know as soon as he graduates, we're definitely not going to, like, want to get married as soon as he's done. Like, I hope he gets those experiences that I'm going to have my semester after I graduate. And I just hope we both grow as people. And so basically, no, I don't want to follow the, like, standards of my town and the town my mom grew up in.
Yeah. That was a great question. I really like this topic, and I do think that this is really important to talk to your children about, and to really stop and take a breath and listen, which will also maybe be something that I have to do eventually. If Braylee came to me in a couple of years and wanted to get married, it would be hard for me.
We'll be prepared for 22.
But I will always listen. When you just love someone and you're ready, you know.
I mean, I also wouldn't mind getting married in a few years, but I do want to get married and then, like, enjoy my married life before I have kids, because kids come with a lot of responsibility, and I just want to enjoy, like, just me and my husband's time.
I think that time is really important also, because the first year of marriage, Casey and I had a year of marriage, we were really, really busy. So when you get married young too, you're still going to school. We were both working a lot, and we didn't have a lot of time together. But it's a lot of figuring things out. And you might think you know someone, and then you live with them and you're like, what? Who are you? Why do you do that?
Yeah.
It's so weird.
I was just going to say that. Like, I am all about living with your partner before you get married.
And I know that a lot of people have mixed feelings about this, and that's okay. I understand all of them. But for me, I just think that living with someone is really important. And again, back to the conversation we were having about dating, you might have a few years with someone who you live with and you enjoy and build a life with, and then you figure out that's not quite the right fit. And that's okay. It's okay to move on from a relationship that is even that significant, hopefully in a good way, but you can still learn so much about yourself. And again, you know, just take that experience and that time and grow. And then you'll be ready for the next relationship. I don't think that I was ever told that, you know, it was okay to to date and to
Have a lot of boyfriends.
well, and to just be really happy with someone and then be able to move on.
Yeah, I've been in a few relationships. Obviously, I didn't live with them and build a life with them, but I'm so thankful for all of them because they taught me so much about the world, but they also like showed me so much about myself. Like I was in a relationship for 2.5 years, and I feel like I learned so much from that relationship that I'm now better for my next relationships to come. So there's going to be lots of traveling to come and a lot of growing myself as a person for my future, and I'm excited.
Yeah.
My life's finally starting.
What? Oh, excuse me?
It's actually so exciting.
Yeah. I know. It's weird to think that you're going to be living a life without me.
It's sad.
I just like can't even handle it.
I was like driving to school and I was thinking about I'm such like a movie person, like I think my life's a movie pretty much, and I was thinking about when I get home from my trip and like seeing you guys in the airport and like sprinting you guys in slow motion. But then I was like thinking about like you guys dropping me off at the airport and how depressing that's gonna be.
Yeah.
Because I have, you know how people get like homesickness? I get mom sickness. Like I miss my mom so much. I went on a trip for spring break my 8th grade year, and it was the worst ever. Do you remember me crying or crying to you? Calling you every night crying.
Yeah.
So good thing I saw FaceTime.
I think that is something that will be great about what you're going to be doing. I think it will prepare you. It will prepare me. And we'll know that we'll be reunited and you'll be here.
In slow motion runs through the airport.
Slow motion runs. Wait a second. That's it, guys. She knows. We're filming her life.
Yep.
Everyone can come out.
My life's a reality TV show. I know.
We're all just hiding cameras everywhere.
Have you seen that movie?
What? The Truman Show?
Yeah.
Yes.
It's so good. I watched it last try and it was the best show I've ever seen.
Wait, did you feel at all like that was a life that you've been living with vlogging?
And like looking through the windows, I'm like, where's the camera?
No, with a lot of people will say like vlogging is similar to
Really?
the Truman Show.
No, I don't think so at all. Not at all.
You were very aware. You were very aware of what was happening.
Yeah, for sure. I think that everyone lives a different lifestyle though, and there's things that are good for everybody and things that aren't good for people. So it really just comes down to how you feel and what you think is going to be right for you. I think it's important not to know that you don't have to live by anybody's standards. Like if you feel like you should get married right out of high school, then get married right out of high school. Like you live and you learn, and your experiences aren't going to be like anybody else's.
Okay, what would you do if I was opposed to you living with your boyfriend and you really felt like it was right for you? How would you talk to me as the parent to try to help me understand where you're coming from?
It's weird to me because I feel I could never see you being like that, so it is weird to like think. But I would just be honest. I think that's the most important things. I think hurt feelings come when you're hiding and lying to your parents about things that you're doing behind their back. And so I think it is important to like sit down, have a conversation with them, and also try and see their side too. But I think it's important to go at it as not attacking them and like not being like, you're an awful parent for not letting me like live with my boyfriend and not seeing my side. I think it's important just to sit down and like hear their side, and then also try and tell your side in a calm manner.
I think it can be really hard because those feelings can be so strong in feeling like it is really wrong to live together before marriage. And I know as a parent that could be really scary, but I do think that it is just so important, like Braylee said, to hear each other and put yourself in their position. And I love that you said, what did you say? Okay.
To not approach it. Are you tired?
I'm waiting for the garage.
No, what are you?
I just feel like I'm not remembering everything I want to say.
It's okay.
Okay. I know, and I know we'll touch on communication over and over and over, but it's because it's so important. And I just think family relationships are more important than thinking that your child living with someone is wrong. That's how I truly feel. And I think that it took me a long time to get to Does that make sense?
Yeah. Geez, why does the garage take so long to shut?
And I think it's important to maybe stop and ask yourself why it's so important to you. And if you're making that decision because of what you think and what you believe instead of what your child believes. Because at a certain point, we have to remember that our kids are separate from us. And our kids are going to think, feel, believe differently than we do. And so if you stop and think, is this harming them? Aside from what I believe is the right thing to do, will this hurt them? And if the answer is no, then I think that we need to be understanding of those differences. I know that that can be really scary because of deep, deep beliefs, but I just think that we have to put that aside sometimes. And you never know. I know as your child grows, you're trying to instill is that the right word? Mm-hmm. Instill? Okay. I know that as our children grow, we try to instill these values and right from wrong and knowing, and the hope that they'll live their life a certain way so that you're happy. I think that sometimes fear can stand in the way of that communication because it can be so scary being a parent. It can be so scary knowing that your child could potentially be hurt or that they might make the wrong decisions. But our children have to learn on their own. I do love what Brai said about being honest. It is so important to be honest because feelings do get hurt when there's dishonesty. And that doesn't mean that you have to tell your parents every single thing. Trust me, I feel like my kids are very honest with me, but I don't think that they tell me everything, and that's okay.
Pretty close.
I think that they tell me a lot, but, I just think like these big things, you have to be open and honest. But your child is not going to feel like they can be open and honest with you if you respond in a way that is scary or in a way that makes a child feel like they have to hide the way that they really feel. I do think that can come with time, and I don't think that a conversation needs to continue to happen if you're feeling really heated. So, whatever you have to do to get there, I think that it's necessary to take those steps.
I also think it's really important for the parent and the kid to look at a situation like, is it worth me losing either my kid or my parents' relationship over this situation? Yeah. Like, I feel like with the living situation, is it really worth it for the parent to lose the relationship that they have with their kid because they aren't listening to the other person's side and they're only approaching it with anger? Because I feel like most of the time the answer is going to be no.
Yeah. We really went to this deep place with this topic. I didn't mean to, but I do agree with that because I have realized as my kids have gotten older that my relationship with them isn't guaranteed. My kids are going to start living their own life separate from me. And I feel like right now I have started, building this other pillar of our relationship that is so important for the stage of life that we're entering into. I want you to trust me. I want you to be friends with me when you are a full-grown adult and you have this other life. I want to be included in that. Before now, you had no choice. I mean, you wanted to, yeah. Obviously. Little children want nothing more than to have their parents' attention. And I think as a parent, you think it's always going to be that way. But it's not. I even think as teenagers, it's hard to be a big priority in your kid's life. And it's not because your kid is rude or disrespectful or this or that. It's because they're starting to build this other life. And they should. And it's so important. But it's also so important to start building this new relationship that looks a little bit different so that your children want you involved. And I really feel like that's something that I've been trying to do. I don't know.
You've done a good job.
Thanks. I was like, I don't know, really, am I doing
Like,
that?
no.
Like, start another pillar.
Everyone has different standards for living, and kids sometimes are different than what their parents expect.
Yeah.
And that is an important conversation to have if you want to live a different way that your parents don't agree with.
Right.
I also think that it's important, I know we're wrapping it up, but one last thing. I do think it is important to kind of take baby steps, not just like hit them with it all at once, just kind of maybe start somewhere small and then build your way up.
Right, because when you're approaching your parent, you know how they feel and what they believe, and if it is something different, it's going to be very shocking and upsetting, and just like we understand our teenagers are approaching things differently as they get older, your parent is going to approach something maybe that might seem with anger, but it's not necessarily that. It's not them trying to be rude and not understanding. It's shocking and it's hard. And again, fear plays a big part in that. So you have to be understanding of that also. And this isn't just for like living situations. It's for, I feel like, all
Everything.
of these. If you want to travel and your parents don't want you to, if you do want to get married really young and your parents are really against that, it's just, you can never over communicate. Except for me. I sometimes can repeat myself a lot and say things I don't need to say. But it's better than not communicating.
All right, guys, that is it for today. Thank you so much for watching us and supporting us on this journey. I'm so happy that it's happening and that we're sticking with it.
I know, it's been so much fun. And we have so many topics that we want to talk about. We love hearing from you guys. Please continue this conversation down below, because I feel like that is what is going to be the best thing about doing this podcast.
I agree. We also like to hear advice from you guys because, like we said, we're not perfect, and I like to read your guys' comments, so definitely comment below how you feel about this topic.
I do think that if you have a different opinion, again, we want to hear that. I understand. I really and truly do understand every side of this conversation, and I think that it's important to share that so that people can read the comments, not just us. We love reading them, but I hope that everyone watching will continue conversations with each other down in the comments. Please keep it positive, of course. We don't need any more hate in this world. This space with love.
Yeah.
And understanding and listening and
because
growing.
We're all just trying to learn in life.
Right.
Thank you guys so much for watching again. We're so thankful for all of you guys.
We'll see you next time. Bye.
Bye.